shot the person dead, and that's it. You start shooting, you're a dead man. There's no
Listen,
questions asked.
In
That's
the
it.
Old West, everybody carried their guns. Over. Texas has an open carry law. If you carry them and everybody sees them, no mass shooting occurs in a gun store. Because everybody knows that every employee at the gun store is carrying them and is trained in how to use them. No mass shooting occurs, but they occur in elementary schools, high schools, and sometimes even in colleges. But you're right, I believe strongly. If the mass shooters believed that every one of us were armed, they would not come here. They would not go there either. Anyway, Second Amendment. All right. Then, of course, there's amendments about no quartering of troops in peacetime without consent, no third degree. You know, you can't torture a person, even though this is sometimes broken. You cannot torture confessions out of people. You know, so on and so forth. Again, I'm running out of time. But some of these things have come up from time to time. Okay, chapter 9, and then I will close. All right. Now, when we took the Northwest Territory, and I'm talking about the states of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, how many of you can picture this in your mind, what I'm talking about? These states just north of the Ohio River and east of the Mississippi, today it's called the Midwest. But these states were given to us thanks to George Rogers Clark. This territory is given to us, and the Congress decided we're going to divide it. The first thing they did was make slavery illegal. And I'm talking about the Northwest Territory. Northwest Territory. Slavery illegal. This was the beginning of the attempt to end slavery. But again, keep in mind, no cotton is grown in this area. If you know anything about the climate, there are Minnesota and Wisconsin, cold, really cold places. Now, we had to fight the Indians there. We finally made peace with the Indians. That we agreed to let the Indians have unending hunting and fishing rights, unrestricted. And to this day, if you're an American Indian, you can hunt without a license anytime you want to hunt. You don't have to wait till season. And you can fish without a license on any lake you can. They can't fish on somebody's private lake. You can fish on any public lake, any public beach.
How do you prove you're Native American or not?
The only way I know of to prove it is to have the color of the skin color. But again, that's racial profiling. But that's the only way I know of to prove it. But I mean, that law is still in the books. Now, of course, I discussed with a woman one time, that she was trying to tell me this is the best way to live like nature, to live between nature. I said, but even the American Indians do not take a boat out in the water at night without lights. It's utterly zany. And I said, even the Amish do not carry a stagecoach at night without lights. I mean, it's utterly zany. And she never came back to my class. I tried to tell her, when you live in a modern world, you have to do some things the modern way. And one thing you don't do is put a boat on the lake at night with no lights on. I mean, does it make sense to you? I mean, not only to sink, somebody who can't see is going to smack right into you and wreck both of you. Or would you drive a car at night without lights? Or drive a stagecoach on the road with no lights on? I mean, you can't do it. Even the Amish have to go to an automotive store like we do and buy a battery and buy wires and buy lights, and then they buy the fasteners to stick that stuff on their stage, something their ancestors never did, but their ancestors didn't have to. But today, they use the same roads that we do, because we can make them better than they can. And they put lights on their stagecoaches. She didn't like that. I said, the American Indians, even they have put lights on their motorboats or on their boats. They can fish free. They can fish without a license, but they have to abide by certain other laws. Again, so anyway, the Indians got this. Another thing the Indians got, and folk say, they got a bunch of liquor given to them. And if any of you know now, I mean, I'm not trying to be racial, but if you're of American Indian descent, you have no business drinking alcohol. And I can tell this from experience. I was in the Army once. We had Asian men in the Army who drank alcohol, and the result was better off than describe it. It would have been hilarious if it hadn't been so tragic. Their bodies react to it different from the bodies of Caucasian or African people. And again, if you're of Asian per descent, I hope you don't take it. I'm simply stating what I've observed and what other people tell me they've observed also. Now, we got a little bit more territory in 1803 when the Emperor of France, a man named Napoleon,
He was the guy that was like 4'3", right?
he sold the Louisiana territory. We call it the Louisiana Purchase. Now today, Louisiana is a little bitty state down there at the end of the Mississippi River. But at that time, Louisiana included all the territory west of the Mississippi River, all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Anyway, Napoleon had gotten in a deal from Spain. I mean, when the French and Indian War ended, the French lost all the North American territory. But Napoleon made a deal with Spain where he got it. But then when Napoleon was running out of money fighting his wars, he sold Louisiana to the United States. This is called the Louisiana Purchase, and it was done by President Thomas Jefferson. The year was 1801, I believe. Anyway, don't worry about the year. Now, our first president under the Constitution, and hopefully all of you know this, our very first president was George Washington. Thomas Jefferson was president number 3. Our first president was George Washington. One thing about George Washington proved to be unworkable. George Washington did not believe in political parties. But what actually happened, in spite of his attempts to stop it, political parties became more today. And after him, now George Washington was not elected by a party. He was the only president we had who was elected by every one of the electors. He was elected unanimously. Of course, keep in mind, when he was elected twice. There was no popular vote. The way he was elected was each state legislature appointed some electors, and they sent their electors to New York, which was our capital at the time. And these electors, every one of them voted for George Washington to be president, so he became president.
So why did we move our capital to D.C.?
Okay, that's a good question. The first, all right, the capital was at first. It was at first in New York.
It was in New York, okay.
Now, but the Southern people said New York is too far for us Southerners, and they wanted it. Now, this is going to sound strange. They wanted the capital was in the middle of the country, so they moved it to Washington D.C. because at the time, Washington was smack in the middle of what was then the United States.
D.C.
Yeah, they took a little, they chopped a little bit from Earl, took some from the state of
New
New
York
York,
was where our first.
and they built the capital. Now the first capital was in New York. Then for 10 years, the capital was moved to Philadelphia.
10 years it was moved to Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia. And then we moved it to the district because the District of Columbia was designed to be a capital. It was designed, it was intended from the start. See, whereas New York was starting out as a port of entry, Philadelphia the same way, a port of entry, a trading center, but Washington, D.C. was laid out and planned by a man named Charles LaFont. It was planned with a full intent of making it a capital. And therefore there'd be a Capitol building, there'd be a house for the House and a house for the Senate, and there'd be a place for the Supreme Court, and then there'd be a president's mansion for the president, which became White House. And Pennsylvania Avenue was laid out to join the White House to the Capitol, and it's still there. Pennsylvania Avenue, I've been there not too long ago, in fact.
Is So first it was in New York, then
Right.
it moved to, after how long did it move?
It only stayed in New York about a year or two, very short time. Philadelphia for 10 years.
And then after Philly?
And after Philly, sometime around let's see, I believe it was 1801, the capital moved to Washington. And when John Adams was the first president to occupy the White House, I believe it was, and Mrs. Adams would sometimes hang her wash in a room that's now used for entertaining state guests. But when she did do her laundry, she didn't even have servants to do her laundry for her. She would hang out her wash in one of the White House rooms. Again, some of you might know what I'm talking about. If you don't have a dryer, you've got to hang your laundry up if you're washing it. Anyway, and Pennsylvania Avenue, when John Adams left office, was nothing but a long, muddy road. Well, it was no longer is now, but it was a muddy road. Today it's all wide and paved and all that. And these government buildings made of marble. And some of the marble, by the way, was taken from Stone Mountain right here in Georgia and translated. Yes, you can see where it was quarried. The rocks are laid out straight. Some of the rocks were broken, but some of Stone Mountain, the granite, was taken to be used for a federal capital. But then they realized they were taking too much of Stone Mountain, so they quit. But if you take the railroad ride, you can see where the quarry was. The railroad ride that goes around Stone Mountain. Okay, folk. All right. The next test will be on chapters 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, if it sounds like it's a lot,
How many questions are there in the next test?
okay, I have not made it up yet. Now this test, I have asked about this test.
No, I'm saying the next test.
This test has 34 questions. Yeah, 34 questions. All right. Okay. Now, see one of you left the room. What do I want to say? A couple of rules. Number one, if you think you're going to need to leave the room before the test's over, leave now. I'll let you back in. Number two, I don't need to see any headphones. I don't need to see your cell phones out in the open. Okay, and if you get up and leave, you have to turn in your test book. Not now, not now. I mean, once I've passed out the test, if you get up and leave, you have to turn in your test book. So if you want to leave, leave now. Last week, there was a big rainstorm that hit us, and I did not even know it. And this week, the sun is shining bright. I had no idea. I got out to the hallway and there was a rain
Yeah.
with thunder and lightning all over the place.
So it's
And I
very
said,
heavy.
well, I think I made a remark about not being able to predict the weather. That one was not quite predicted. Okay.